So what is this community mapping?
Community mapping. First, you sort of lay out local infrastructure, especially as regards flooding and water management and stuff, but also community projects, local authority stuff, where people live, where you buy your food, all that geographical stuff, and then we start to put on our desires, like fantastical desires and utopian wishes, as well as like what we actually want in the short term the government to provide, or what we want to build ourselves. So it's sort of what exists, what we want to exist, the problems, all of that mapped out by the people to help us work out how to get where we want to go.
What's it change in Hull?
I think information and education is the first thing. People need to be more aware of the threat, and also what role they can play individually in helping to find solutions. I think that's the most important first step, is raising awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right, because of some of the people that have been through here today, most of them have been saying that they don't really know the first thing about it. You know, and if you don't know the first thing about it, you don't know that you're under threat. You don't know why you're under threat. So how can you possibly put forward any sort of solution to the issue?
Yeah.
If you don't understand those things.
You don't know what you don't know, do you? You don't know what you don't know.
No, you don't.
And you don't know. You don't understand that that the responsibility does lie individually and collectively. That's the problem, isn't it? That we all presume somebody else is kind of looking after that. Somebody else will deal with that.
And I think like that's the general atmosphere in our city. Like it's like resigned to try not to think about it, basically, and just like fingers crossed. And on top of the actual climate stuff, it's like not just being used to not being involved in the political process, not like being listened to, not being asked.
Like I've never written a letter to my MP or anything, so I think in general it's quite an unusual thing to do, and maybe it should be something that's much more common, like that everyone can like feel like they're at least in the process, or can be part of the process if they want to be.
Hull is like it's the edge, it's the water's edge. We have like land and water, and like we have marine, so it's working with the bioregions as well. So that's another kind of permaculture thing, this concept of working with nature and not against it.
Flooding has always been a part of Hull's history, so it isn't solely about climate emergency. It's about how we live with it.
We've got to develop some courage. We've got to develop some heart to heart. It's about. I mean, people are the problem, but people are the solution as well. And we just need to get to know each other, work a few things out, and it's going to take a lot of talking, a lot of agreeing, maybe disagreeing, maybe agreeing.
In all these spaces where systems and power operate, actually, whenever they just hear from someone with lived experience, use buzzword, it's very powerful, because you're actually just listening to someone speaking from their heart about whatever they care. They're not speaking in speak that everyone knows, and you're all just like at the same yada 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 kind of meeting. Anyone who says anything in their own normal voice, it's just So even in Parliament and spaces, actually, you just need to be able to get into that space, get normal people into that space to speak normally.
I don't want it for every single person to sort of like stop what they're doing and like learn about the whole ecosystem and about flooding, because like that's like an unmanageable task. And it's like, so I'm totally okay about sort of like fighting for something like a people's assembly, where I can feel confident that people's best interests are being looked after.
If you go with, it could be really beautiful, and actual possible solutions or alternative scenarios and things, you kind of got more of a case rather than just being you're not listening to us. And they're like, well, what do you want to say? We want to say you're not listening to us. You know, it's like.
It's got to be everything all at once. It's got to be individuals at home doing stuff, and it's got to be politicians listening. But the big thing that's missing from all of that is mobilising people to actually understand that it is a pretty existential crisis in Hull. Like that the whole city literally would be underwater if nothing is done about it.